August the 31st, 2017. Message to the Israel. I don't think you're going to do this, but I'm going to do it anyways. I don't think you're going to do it because it's not really profitable, this gesture, this suggestion to you, this option. I don't think you're going to like one at all. I don't blame you. You get to lose all your whorehouses, all international criminality chain is gone. Everything you counted on before disappears. Newspapers, media, mainstream media become subjective about things. You yourself quit from Hebrew. You quit Yiddish. You adopt Russian and English as two official languages only in the state, which name you're going to have to either change or do or keep one if it's going to fit people that want to save your ass, including myself. This is the proposition that you abandon Judaism. You quit from it. You condemn in one. And you choose to either turn to Christianity, if you like, or atheism. Then you're left off the hook. But this isn't gonna do much good for you. I completely understand. You're not gonna do it. Something that is taking place in Texas, I'm sure that you understand. I'm sure you know what exactly I mean by that. Is being already done by someone. Jews converted to Christianity or simply become atheists. I don't really care. It's because if you want to stop corruption, you have to go to the communist. If you want to implement corruption, then all you have to do is find a capitalist. So, technologically looking, capitalism did go ahead. It did advance in comparison to communism technologically. But morally, it's a disaster. The capitalism for Americans ended in self-enslavement. Okay, so to me it doesn't matter. It really does not matter. It doesn't matter to me what are you going to choose, of course, between these two options if you are crazy enough to settle for them. Because other than that, there is no other option. If you will consider these two options, then I will absolutely dedicate myself to you. Then I will give you a full support. Then I will assure you I will assure myself that truly nobody in this world will ever discriminate you, say anything bad to you based on your physical looks, or do anything bad to you in any sense. This gesture, this idea, is coming from Texas. And as much as I was dismissive about this individual, I'm already sure you know who I'm talking about. I support this one with a passion, but I know you're not going to do it anyways because it's no good for you. It's not going to work for you. I understand that. If you will, however, decide to do this, now in that case, I pledge myself fully to protect you with everything I have. Maybe a little bit how I got this idea. Why am I doing this? I'm doing this, and that's why I stated Russian and American, because I should say English, because you got that under the British mandate. You did expand it thanks to the US. 50% of the Israel, however, speaks Russian, because it's enormous amount of people in Israel from Belarus and from Russia. And so when I went to Russia, actually I did not go to Russia, I went to Belarus. But Belarus that's where real Russia is. That's a Belarus means white Russia. Bela means white, Rus, Russia. I was really impressed with it. I love it. But there was a certain percentage of the population that did remind it of your roots, because you did left them in that territory. You did left some of that. You have it all over the Eastern Europe, to be honest. You have left some in Poland, in Ukraine. I've seen that in Belarus. And I love Russia. I love Russian people. I have fallen in love with Russians. It might be a little funny to you, but I will explain how. And so I was so impressed with it that the idea that before that it was totally unacceptable to me, let's put it that way, it actually became extremely appealing to me when I began to consider one again. And you know, just I'm saying, in case that you would do something really stupid like that, I will pledge myself to protect you in every possible sense of the word protect. It's related to the Nazis. This thing is related to the Nazis, the so-called Nazis, because Jews have created Nazis. I'm not really sure even where Nazis got the word Nazi. I mean, where that word came from, Nazi. You know, it's supposed to be from National Socialism and so on. But Ashkenazis, Ashkenazi Jews, they moved to Germany in 5th century. So they have a long trace lineage in Germany. Some of that stuff that I have seen in Belarus and in Eastern Europe, I've seen that in Germany too. I've seen that in Britain. I've seen that all over the Europe. In respect to Nazis, because the Nazis gonna have to go, just like you. You created them. They were created. It's a phenomenon created by the hatred. Okay. Yeah, and I want to explain to you why they will have to go. Why this is going to have to go. It's going to have to go because it's ideology that is based on hatred that have ruined white race completely. This is the ideology that was born on hatred. German nation has nothing to do with it. German nation is no different than any other nation in the world. It's totally the same thing. But the hatred is it's a terrible weapon. It's a terrible manipulation weapon, and it's incredibly self-destructive tool also. I dislike Adolf Hitler. I have totally disavowed and Hitler and National Socialism. But I'm going to give you a deep understanding how and why. Hatred is something that is it does not allow individual to rationalize, if it comes to the racism, we are all racists anyways. We are all racists. Whoever is trying to preserve his nation, his culture, his race is a racist. This is just the way it is. We're not going to even talk about that. But what I'm trying to say is that hatred is a very, very dangerous instrument if it finds itself in a person in an individual, and it's every one of us like that. At one time I have supported Hitler. I wanted to annihilate Russia. I wanted to annihilate Russians. I want bombs to be dropped on Moscow. I want them to go. And this weapon, if it's not contained, because it's the weapon that does not allow individual to rationalize his destination, what he wants to accomplish, where he wants to go. The goals become unclear, and individual itself, his thinking process, I believe, becomes he creates shortcuts, and these shortcuts have costed about 50 million lives in Second World War, which 25 million of them were Russians. When I was in Russia and Belarus, and I have fallen in love with Belarus, the stuff that was inside of me with this hatred, that was instilled in me with this hatred, I could cause the stuff. I never ever would forgive myself, only if I would see it with my own eyes before doing it. Once you do it, it's over. There's nothing to see anymore then. And so what I'm trying to say is that people willing to preserve culture, white race, should condemn Nazism. Nazism does nothing but harm to us. Okay, they have invented like many different ways to divide human being, like in all kinds of stuff that I already have talked about. But when it comes to Nazism, this is just a reminder of how stupid, how idiotic can one race actually become. Like, how stupid can one race actually be? Today I read an article about one individual, I'm not going to call him a Nazi because I don't want to call any one of you Nazis. He's just an individual for me. He's very well known. You don't deserve to be called Nazis, any of you. Okay, what you deserve is peace. What you deserve is tranquility. What you deserve is your mind back. And that's what I'm working on. I'm working toward a goal that is going to stop, criminality. That's pretty much what I'm fighting against. There's something about me that when you in U.S. I kept applying for CIA and FBI and police jobs, and it was just, they were involved in all this shit against me, man. They have extradited me to, abducted and extradited to overseas governments and Israel alone. And so who at the right mind would go, right, and keep apply for, in companies that actually have done that? Well, I did. Okay, because I profoundly believe in justice. I just don't like corruption. I hate corruption. I always did. And I always will. Don't like any of that stuff. And so I'm just trying to give you a little feedback, a little understanding about myself, how all these conclusions, how it's quite interesting, right? Because what Nazis usually do is, so-called Nazis, haters, really is what it is. Just irrational thinking, that caused German people to go in direction they never should have, and that's basically across the border and kill people that didn't have nothing to do with absolutely anything. Started to create some kind of anti-communist ideology. Okay, you want to go see the communism? Be my guest and go see Belarus, and you're gonna see what it means to be a communist, what it means to have a will to preserve the nation, the race, everything that is dear to you who call yourself a Nazis. And then you're going to see what it means to be a communist. I'm not defending anybody. For me, the best would be the optimal solution. That's something between the communism and capitalism. But I think if the person is not a communist, I do believe that person is no good. That is something that I believe. So the core of the human being actually should be a communist. Who should strive toward competition, and that's called capitalism. And competition should be equal for everybody, not only for 5% like the case is in the US. This is how I see things. So I have analyzed these things pretty deeply. That's why I came forward with this solution. Alright? So that's why I'm saying you guys are none of that. The guys that you depict yourself like Germans did, none of that. With the Judaism, Nazism also is going to go. You're both going to disappear. You are both a phenomena that is just going to have to go. Okay, the hatred, the criminality, there is no place in this world for one. I'm going to put it this way: you are a mirror to one another. Okay, you Nazis, so-called Nazis. You're not Nazis. You're just haters. Okay, you are a mirror of Judaism. That's what you are. The hatred, if not contempt, goes across the borders, and then it's a disaster. And you have, like I've stated, this individual, a little bit, sorry that I'm jumping back and forth like that, okay? But it's all related. This individual who stated it would be just everybody exterminated in this world, and the only thing that would be left would be a white race. I think that if this would have happened, this would be a disaster, I believe. I really do believe. Why would you folks want to go and do that? I mean, what kind of ideology is this that would want to go, basically? I'm talking about the Matt Hale, who, by the way, shouldn't be in the jail. I'm going to dedicate that to some other video, okay? But, you know, the stand, the view, the hate that creates person, like I was no different. I was, you know, I wanted to do things like Hitler did. That didn't make no sense, really. Okay, why would you want to go, let's say, and kill somebody like, let's say, Asian people, like Chinese or Japanese or Filipino are very beautiful people who are totally on our side. I mean, I don't think anybody, any race out there, ever loved white race as much as they do. Japanese knew they're making a suicide when they attacked Pearl Harbor. They knew they're going to be finished off. But they did it anyway for the love of the German people. Because they fucking love us blindly. I'm going to tell you the truth. It's true. You do have that original, you know, it always exists. I guess that's something Chinese and Japanese and everybody else is going to have to, you know, and you can't blame them, really. I mean, you know, with the culture that we have developed, you know, such a divisional, dividing culture that we have, hatred that we have developed and that we are depicting. You go to Philippines or you go to Japan or you go to China, what happens? You're well received. They like you. They really like you. You're going to have a good time over there. It's going to be nice. Unless you're going to come across some idiot that have spent a decent amount of time in the U.S. That's what I'm trying to say. If you go to U.S., the only thing you're going to meet are assholes. And that includes white culture too. But these are the things I have talked in previous videos, who is doing all this crap and why they're doing this crap. That's why, Jews, we're going to end this one way or another. If you're going to meet Filipino or Chinese or Japanese in America or whatever you're going to meet, or South American or whatever, they have the prejudice against you immediately. They see you completely different than if you go to their country. Have you ever asked yourself, why the hell is this thing? It's a country, United States of America, that is based on hatred, on division, and we all know who is doing all this stuff. And this stuff that is going to have to end. I just want to say this. I did not complete that. President Duarte from Philippines, I admire him. I love that man. He is someone you can only admire. And the Philippines, he basically have made Philippines out of nothing else than drug cartels. You go and you watch the documentaries about him. I'm going to post that on the website. It's very European, pro-European country. They love European people over there. Mixed with Spaniards, because it was a Spanish colony, and they have 85% they are Roman Catholics. 85% of them. China, this is a beautiful old culture that the only way one can betray is if we simply betray them, because these people have protected Russia against the NATO. They're concerned if you show concern for them. And it goes the same for Japan that I have spoken about. We got variety of people out there that care for us, and that we will go and disseminate some kind of depict ourselves as some kind of a hatred culture that have stolen from us, you know, what really was advantage. Britain have lost all the colonies, France did, everybody did lost everything, and we went from that position into a slavery. Today we're still slaves. Today we are colonized in our own countries. Today Germany is a third world colony, and so the Britain is, and France, and everybody else is. This is what's tremendous price to pay. A tremendous price to pay. It is still tremendous price to pay, and if the hate culture is not going to be stopped, we will completely destroy ourselves. You know, God does not approve hatred. As simple as this. Bigotry and hatred, this is something God does not approve. That much about for this video. I know you're not going to do it, but I did it anyways. And in case you would decide you would do this, of course I did talk about George W. Bush, his ranch over there in Texas. In case you would do it, then you have me on your side. Then you have me on your side. This was the primary reason why I have decided to do this. Oh, yeah, the DNA that partially have stayed over there in Belarus, Jewish DNA. I can't really say Semitic DNA because Jews are not Semites. Jews are just mixed between whites and Semites, and then you already know the rest of it. I already have spoken to you about that. No Semitic nation approves them, their existence. If you say anything against Jews, you're anti-Semite. And if you know, a Semite says something against Jews, he's a racist. I mean, it's always the same thing. This is just the way it works. Okay, the nation that basically was exiled, the nation that was in exile from homeland, the nation that was in concentration camps, exterminated, but not one time. You know, the word Shoah, repeated. This shit repeated over and over again. Seems like did not learn nothing even from the most painful thing that possibly one can learn from. The stuff that I have mentioned, the stuff that I have talked about. Exile and Holocaust. Have done the same thing to Semites. They have done the same thing to the Lebanese. They exiled about 5 million of them, killed I don't know how many, and they, if you look Gaza, if you look whatever is left out of Palestine, it's called Lebanon, is just nothing else than concentration camp. I know you're not going to do it. Financially it's bad for you, I'll be honest with you. The stuff that you had, you know, it's also going to be gone. But if you're going to do it, then I'm going to be on your side. And you're not going to do it temporarily, because, you know, I heard that too. You know, I heard gestures that if I come up with something like this, it's just going to be till we get rid of me, rid of you. and so on. You're not going to get nothing rid of me if you will do this. You're going to do it entirely. Totally, if you're going to do it. If you will do it. Yeah, I'm sure that everybody would love that option. Me, I would be probably, I would say, the happiest man in the world. I would be. My mission is absolutely not to kill people. This is not my mission in this world. My mission is to come as close to God as possible, and that means to eliminate crime as much as possible. For whatever it takes to get there. And so if you would do this, if you would, okay, just a gesture. Alright, today is August the 31st, 2017. That much about this. Thanks for watching this video. Till next time.